Kofi was born with a twisted foot. His left foot turned inward, making him walk with a heavy limp. The other children in Etwatso village ran and played football in the dusty streets, but Kofi could only watch from the side. When they chose teams for games, he was always last. Sometimes they didn't choose him at all. Kofi the cripple, some called him. Not to be mean, exactly, it was just what everyone said. Even the adults called him that lame boy when they talked about him in the market. Kofi was 12 years old. He lived with his mother, Amma, in a small mud house at the edge of the village. His father had died 3 years ago, lost in the harmattan fog while returning from a trading trip. By the time someone found him wandering 2 villages away, sick and confused, it was too late. He died 2 days later. Kofi remembered his father's last words. "I couldn't find home, son. Too much fog. No light to follow." After that, Kofi started doing something strange. Every evening, he would climb slowly, painfully, up the old wooden watchtower at the village entrance. It took him almost 10 minutes to climb what others could climb in 2. His twisted foot made each step difficult, but he climbed anyway. At the top, he would light a small oil lamp and hold it up toward the road. "What are you doing up there?" the children would shout. "Guiding people home," Kofi would answer. They laughed at him. "Nobody needs your tiny lamp. You're wasting oil." But Kofi came every night. December arrived, and with it came the harmattan, a dry wind from the desert that brought thick fog to the village. The fog was so thick, you couldn't see 3 steps ahead. It came every year, but this year it was worse than anyone remembered. Already 2 trading groups had missed Etwatso completely, lost in the fog. The village needed those traders. Without trade, there was no money. Without money, people went hungry. One night, Kofi sat at the top of the watchtower with his small lamp. The fog was like a gray wall around him. He could barely see the ground below. That's when the idea came to him. A big lantern. Not a small one like he carried. A huge one, tall as a house, bright enough to cut through any fog. A lantern that could save people like it could have saved his father. His hands shook as he thought about it. He could see it in his mind, glowing like a second sun. The next morning, he went to see Chief Nana. The chief was old, with white hair and a kind face. He was settling an argument between 2 farmers when Kofi limped into the compound. "Yes, Kofi? What is it?" "Chief, I want to build a big lantern, huge. At the top of the watchtower, it will guide traders through the fog. They won't get lost anymore. The village will be safe and we'll have more trade and—" Stop. The chief held up his hand. He was trying not to smile. "Kofi, that's a nice dream, but do you know how much that would cost? Oil alone would be too expensive. We're a poor village." "But Chief—" "I'm sorry, boy. The answer is no. Go home. Help your mother." The farmers were laughing quietly. Kofi felt his face burn with shame. He limped out of the compound as fast as he could. That night, he told his mother everything. Amma stopped weaving her basket and looked at her son. She saw the tears in his eyes. "Do you really believe you can do this?" she asked. "Yes." "Then do it. Don't wait for permission." "But Mama, everyone will laugh at me. They already laugh at me." His mother took his face in her hands. "They laugh, Because they've forgotten how to dream. Your father never forgot. Don't you forget either. The next day, Kofi started. He had no money, so he went into the forest to cut bamboo. But cutting bamboo was hard work, and his twisted foot made it harder. He couldn't stand properly. He couldn't balance well. Every swing of the machete sent pain shooting up his leg. It took him 3 hours to cut what another boy could cut in 30 minutes. He dragged the bamboo back to the village one piece at a time. His hands blistered, his good leg cramped from carrying all his weight. By the time he got the first load home, he was covered in sweat and dirt. The other children saw him. "Look at Kofi dragging sticks." "What are you building, cripple? A house for ants?" He ignored them and went back for more bamboo. Days passed. Every morning, Kofi woke before dawn and went to the forest. His mother wrapped his foot in cloth to ease the pain, but it didn't help much. Sometimes he fell. Once, he twisted his ankle so badly he couldn't walk for 2 days. But as soon as he could move again, he went back to work. He needed cloth to cover the lantern frame. He went to the market woman begging for scraps. "Please, I'm building a lantern to help the village." Most women turned away. "Stupid boy, stop wasting everyone's time." But a few took pity on him. They gave him torn pieces of cloth, scraps too small to sell. Kofi took everything gratefully. At night, his mother helped him sew the pieces together. Their fingers worked by candlelight, stitching, joining, creating large panels from the scraps. "We need oil to treat the cloth," Amma said, "so it won't catch fire." Kofi thought hard. "I'll work for it." The next morning, he went to the oil seller's stalls. "I can work for you. Cleaning, carrying loads, anything." The oil sellers looked at his twisted foot and laughed. You can barely walk." But one seller, an old woman named Abana, said, "Give him a chance." So Kofi worked. Every morning before dawn, he swept Abana's stall, organized her pots, carried small loads. The work was hard, and the other workers teased him constantly. "Watch out for the cripple, he might drop everything." "Why did Abana hire him? He's useless." Abana paid him in small amounts of palm oil, which he saved carefully in a clay pot. Meanwhile, the lantern frame was growing. Kofi lashed bamboo poles together, creating a tall skeleton structure at the top of the watchtower. It was slow work. His hands were clumsy, and with his balance problems, working at heights was dangerous. Twice he nearly fell. The villagers noticed. "That boy has lost his mind. His mother should stop him. This is embarrassing." Poor Amma, cursed with a crippled son who's also a fool. 3 weeks into the work, disaster struck. Kofi had just finished the main frame. It stood as tall as 3 men, a towering structure of bamboo. He was so proud. He climbed down carefully and went home to tell his mother. That night, a storm came. Lightning split the sky. Thunder shook the ground. In the morning, Kofi rushed to the watchtower. His lantern frame was destroyed. The wind had knocked it over. Bamboo poles lay scattered like broken bones. Kofi stood there, staring. 3 weeks of work. All the pain, all the mocking, all the effort, gone. He sank to the ground and cried. The villagers who saw him shook their heads. "See, it was foolish from the start." Old Kwame, the village skeptic, walked up to Kofi. "Boy, this is God telling you to stop. You're wasting your life. Your father was a practical man. He would be ashamed of you." Those words hit Kofi like a physical blow. Ashamed. Would his father really be ashamed? He limped home, not even trying to hide his tears. His mother was at her loom, weaving. "Mama, it's destroyed, all of it." Amma kept weaving, her hands steady. "So build it again." "I can't. I'm tired, Mama. My foot hurts all the time. Everyone laughs at me. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just a foolish cripple." His mother stopped weaving. She turned to face him and her eyes were hard. "Don't you ever call yourself that. Never." She stood up and gripped his shoulders. "You know what your father told me the day you were born? The midwife said your foot was twisted and everyone was sad, but your father held you and smiled. He said, 'This boy will have to work harder than others, so he'll become stronger than others. He'll see things they can't see.'" Kofi wiped his eyes. "He said that?" "Yes, and he was right. You see this lantern in your mind. You see it clearly. That vision is a gift, Kofi. Don't throw it away because of one storm." Kofi looked at his mother's face, lined with work and worry, but still strong. He thought about his father's words. He thought about the traders lost in the fog. "I will try again," he whispered. "Good.
The next
Now eat
morning,
something.
Kofi
You'll need
went
your
back
strength.
to the forest. His body screamed at him to rest, but he cut bamboo anyway. He dragged it back. He started rebuilding the frame, but this time he reinforced it with stronger joints and extra supports. The work went slower now. His injured ankle hadn't fully healed. Every step sent fire up his leg. Sometimes he had to stop and just breathe, waiting for the pain to pass. The mocking got worse. "He's building it again. The fool actually came back." Someone should tell his mother to lock him up. Even some who had pitied him before now frowned. The basket weaver next door said to Amma, "Your son needs help. This obsession isn't healthy." But Kofi kept working. He worked through November. He worked as December arrived and the harmattan fog grew thicker. He worked until his hands bled and his twisted foot throbbed with constant pain. The second frame went up, stronger than before. This time it survived the winds. Kofi began attaching the cloth panels his mother had sewn. He treated them with the palm oil he'd earned, making them translucent and fire-resistant. Inside the frame, he built a platform for the oil lamps. But then another problem appeared. He didn't have enough oil to fill the lamps. He had used most of it treating the cloth. He needed at least 12 lamps burning at once to create enough light. He went to Abina, the old oil seller. "Please, I need more oil. I can work longer hours, do anything." Abina shook her head sadly. "Kofi, I've given you all I can afford. I have my own family to think of. I'm sorry." Kofi went to the other sellers. They all refused. He sat in the market square, his head in his hands. Christmas Eve was in 3 days. The lantern was almost finished, but without oil, it was useless. "Problem, boy?" Kofi looked up. It was Yao, a traveling merchant who had stopped in Newatso for the night. He was a big man with a kind face. "I'm building a lantern," Kofi said tiredly, "to guide people through the fog, but I don't have enough oil to light it." "Show me." Kofi led him to the watchtower. Climbing up took forever. His foot was especially bad today. But when they reached the top and Yao saw the structure, his eyes widened. "You built this?" "You?" Kofi nodded. Yao walked around the lantern frame, examining it. "This is good work. Very good. Why are you doing this?" My father got lost in the fog. He died. I don't want that to happen to anyone else. Ya was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I'll give you the oil you need. Kofi's heart jumped. Really? But I can't pay you. Consider it an investment. If your lantern works, traders like me will benefit. If it doesn't work, well, then I lose some oil. It's worth the risk. That evening, Yal brought 6 large containers of palm oil to Kofi's house. It was enough to fill the lamps and keep them burning all night. Kofi wanted to cry with relief. Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet. Let's see if this crazy plan of yours actually works. Christmas Eve arrived. The harmattan fog that day was the thickest anyone had seen in years. By noon, you couldn't see across the street. The village elders shook their heads grimly. Terrible night for anyone traveling. Kofi spent the day making final preparations. He filled 12 oil lamps carefully. He checked every joint in the structure. His mother climbed up, slowly because she was afraid of heights, to help him. I'm proud of you, she said, whatever happens tonight. Thanks, Mama. As evening came, word spread through the village. The crippled boy is going to light his giant lantern tonight. People came to watch, some curious, some hoping to see him fail, a few genuinely hoping he'd succeed. Kofi stood on the platform inside the lantern frame. His hands shook as he struck the first match. He lit the first lamp, then the second, then the third. One by one, all 12 lamps flickered to life, the flames dancing together. He lowered the oiled cloth panels around the frame. For a long moment, nothing happened. And then slowly, the light began to glow through the cloth. It grew brighter, warmer, spreading outward. The panels glowed like captured sunlight. A gasp rose from the crowd below. The light pushed back the fog, creating a bubble of visibility. And even through the thick harmattan mist, the glow was visible from far away, a warm beacon in the darkness. It works, someone whispered. The boy actually did it. But old Kwame scoffed. So it glows. Nobody's coming tonight in this fog. You'll see. He's wasted everything for nothing. Hours passed. The fog got thicker. The crowd gradually left, people returning home. Soon only Kofi's mother remained below and Chief Nana Ose, who had stayed out for curiosity. Midnight approached. Kofi's foot throbbed painfully. He was exhausted. Maybe Kwame was right. Maybe nobody would come. Maybe he had failed after all. He was about to climb down when he heard it. Faint voices in the fog. Hello? Is anyone there? Help! We're lost! Kofi jumped up, ignoring the pain in his foot. Here! He shouted. Follow the light! Follow the light to Iwatso! His mother ran to alert the village. Within minutes, people poured out of their homes with torches. Out of the fog they came. First one person, then another, then more and more. It was a large trading caravan, 30 people with donkeys loaded with goods. They had been lost for hours, going in circles, some people crying in fear. The caravan leader, a tall man, was shaking. We saw your light, miles back, through the fog. We thought we were seeing things, but we followed it. You saved us. More people emerged, individual travelers who had also been lost, a woman with a baby, an old man, a group of young traders. All of them had seen the light. All of them had followed it to safety. The village square filled with people. Someone started a fire. Food appeared. The women who had refused Kofi scraps now brought their best dishes. The men who had mocked him now clapped his shoulder and called him brilliant. Chief Nanaose climbed the watchtower. The old man had tears in his eyes. "Kofi," he said, "I was wrong. You saw something we couldn't see, and you made it real through your sweat and pain and faith." Down in the square, the caravan leader was speaking to the crowd. "This boy saved lives tonight. Iwatso should honor him." "Yes," people shouted. "Honor Kofi!" The chief raised his hand for silence. "From this day forward, Kofi shall be known as the Keeper of Light. He will maintain the great lantern every harmattan season. The village will provide whatever he needs. This is my decree." The crowd cheered. Kofi felt his mother's arms around him, felt her tears on his face. "Your father would be so proud," she whispered. "You found the light, my son." Kofi looked out at the crowd. All these people who had mocked him, doubted him, called him foolish and crippled, now they cheered for him. But he wasn't angry. He understood. Sometimes people can't see what's possible until someone shows them. He looked at his twisted foot, the foot that had made his life so hard, that it made every step of this journey painful. For the first time, he felt grateful for it. Because of his foot, he couldn't run and play like other children, so he had learned to sit still and watch. He had learned to see things others missed. He had learned that being different wasn't the same as being less. His father had been right all along.
Years passed. Kofi grew into a man. His foot never straightened, and he always walked with a limp. But nobody called him cripple anymore. They called him the Keeper of Light. The lantern became famous across the region. Traders planned their routes to pass through Etwiso during harmattan season. The village prospered. Kofi trained others to help maintain the lantern. He taught them the technical skills, but also something else. He taught them that the greatest lights aren't lit by the strongest or the fastest, but by those who refuse to give up. On foggy nights, people across the land would see that warm glow and remember the story. They would tell their children about the boy with the twisted foot who built hope from bamboo and cloth, who proved that disability could become ability if you had vision and courage. And in Etwiso, Kofi would climb his watchtower each evening, still slow, still painful, but always steady, and tend his lamps. He would watch the roads and the fog and think about his father. The darkness had taken his father, but Kofi had taken something back from the darkness. He had taken light, and he had given it to everyone. In the glow of his lantern, travelers found their way home, and in the story of his struggle, people found something even more precious: hope that no fog can hide, no darkness can extinguish. Because hope isn't something you find, it's something you build, piece by piece. Despite the pain, despite the mockery, despite every reason to quit. Hope is a light you kindle in the darkness. And once kindled, it burns forever.